Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Ettlingen in Germany for RC Racing TV's coverage of the EFRA 1/8 scale IC Euros. My name is Adam Johnson, along with Paul Bateman, Frank McKinney, and the rest of the team here, bringing you all the best action from the top heats of qualifying here in what has been an intense set of sessions already, and the fascination is only going to crank up further here as we get down to the final few rounds of qualifying to set our top qualifier. Those who will be battling it out in our brand new for this year's Super Pole format. Make sure not to miss that when it comes up after the conclusion of the final 2 rounds of qualifying, and then on into the finals and the quest for glory and European champion. So here is your grid for the first of these top heats in qualifying round 4. As you can see, it's a full inversion of the seeding. It is Andrea Pirani who will be leading them off, the Italian, the number 10 seed. Merlin Depter second. Now Depter showed good pace in the first 2 rounds, but has kind of dropped off since then. Pirani, conversely, was very strong earlier this morning in round 3. Alberto Pico as well, won that heat, remember. But the men to watch, the guys down at the bottom there, especially rolling off 9th, the number 2 seed, Bruno Coelho. He has been incredibly rapid and has been one of the guys who's been kind of breaking out of this heat, because remember, it's all about winning your heat, but it's also about the overall time. It's about going up on the overall leaderboard to go for top qualifier honours, and you can always do that from any heat you start from, but obviously it helps if you're further up. So Coelho has been doing his best to move up as it stands. Gilles Groskamp is your top qualifier as it stands coming into round 4. He'll be up in the next heat after these guys out right now. But for now, it is all about Coelho, Pico and co to move themselves up into contention and go for the fastest amount of laps possible. Do as many laps in the time. That's the name of the game here. That's the name of the game in this qualifying format. And that's what all these guys out there will be aiming to do. So the guys out on track now, just doing their warm-up. Finding out where the grip is, finding out how lean or rich the engine's running, whether it is too much so or too little. See one of the cars coming down into the lane. Have a quick tinker. There's the mechanics. There's 1 mechanic per car in the qualifying sessions. As you can see, quick check. And that's Coelho's car, so he's very happy with that car at the moment. No changes needed. Normally the changes they'll make in the warm-up is to do with fueling. They'll tweak how rich or lean the engine is running. If it's lean fuel, it uses less fuel, but it runs warmer. If it's richer, it uses more fuel, but it's cooler, and it also gives more power. So it's about that balance. Remember, these cars often run for about 5 minutes at a time on a fuel tank, so they've got to be careful not to run out in these sessions. And you can generally tell how lean or rich a car is running by the smoke it's putting out. That's the burnt oil in the mix with the nitromethane in the fuel these cars use. As you can see, Coelho's car running ideally. There you go. It will just give a little puff of smoke coming out of the corners under heavy acceleration. But otherwise, you don't want it smoking out the whole joint. But you also don't want it to have no smoke at all, because that means it's running too lean. So then, countdown is on. The first of our top heats in qualifying round 4, the EFRA 1/8 scale IC Euros, presented on RC Racing TV by HB Europe, EFRA and De Agostini Model Space. Final countdown is on. They'll be waved off one by one, and then it'll be all down to the drivers to deliver under the highest pressure. And away we go then. It's round 4. You've only got 2 more chances now to go for glory. And you'll notice as they come out on the track, they'll be very careful with their positioning. They won't want to be too close up behind the guy in front to potentially hinder their laps. They'll want as much clear track as possible, and they'll want to just get into a zone where it's almost like no one else is on the track. That's exactly what Andrea Pirani is doing to start off. And one thing to note here, he's just gone through the start-finish straight there, or the main straight rather. It's going to the EFRA hairpin and then up to the HB carousel here. Round into the De Agostini D, and the scoring line is right there. You can just see it. You just saw it there. So it comes down the pit straight there, but that's not where, that's where the starting grid slots are, but that is not where the control line is. The control line, as it's coming around here through the D'Agostini, there it is. There's that white line there, that's the control line. So that's where they're starting and finishing each lap. So it's just before the pit entrance, just to clarify that for you. And we're following Pirani early doors, and he's putting in some strong laps early on. Let's see if we can, though. See if we can lock into the number 1 car, Francesco Tironi. Now, where is he? There's a lot of colours and a lot of cars out there right now. Here he comes through the EFRA hairpin. He'll be up to the HP carousel right about now. The white car coming through the D'Agostini D. There he is. The mostly white car, I should say. There's some coloured flashes on the side. Blue and red flashes. He is the current fastest lap holder with a 12.994. And if you really want to be at the top end of town, you've got to be aiming to go sub 13 seconds around here. That is a mark that not many people have been able to achieve out here so far. And with the track getting warmer and stickier with every run, that may be easier to achieve for these guys out there. And he's certainly up there in contention, as is the man we've known to watch, Bruno Coelho. Coelho has been very strong in the early rounds. The Portuguese driver has been very strong so far in his X-Ray chassis, his X-Ray car. And we have a car entering the lane now. That's Tironi entering the lane. That is not what he wants there. A little bit of fettling on the car. It's a little change. I think that was the tweak to the engine there. But that is not what he needs. You don't need any slowing down at all. That will hurt his times. So then, let's switch gears and move on to Coelho, who's coming up to the HP carousel now. He's the white and orange car coming through the D'Agostini D now. There he is. The white front and the orange back to his car, a very distinctive car. And during the warm-up, it's very interesting. He came in once. His mechanic asked Coelho, want to change anything? The answer was no. He went straight back out there. So that car has been working just fine for the duration of the qualifying sessions so far. And I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a breakout driver from this heat, and a guy to go on to do great things overall, he's in the top 5 or 10 overall of all the guys up there, along with the likes of Robert DeHaan from the heat just previously. Those guys are sort of breaking out their heats and challenging, so Coelho is easily top 5, top 10 material out here this weekend. And he'll be looking for the fastest times possible. And to a degree, the heat times matter, of course. You've got to win your heat, but you've also got to look at the overall picture. And that's what Coelho will be doing. He's tantalising close right now to a 24-lap run. He's on a 5-minute 2 run so far. So if he can shave a couple more seconds off, he'll be able to nail that 24th lap. And to be honest, I think most of the top 5, as it stands, are able to do 24-lap runs in 5 minutes. So that is what Coelho will be aiming for now. And he's still not quite there yet, but he's still incredibly quick. Alberto Pico was the winner of the last heat. He's running the car number 8 for this one. He's the 8th seed. Here we're coming up to the HP carousel now, the second of the 2 white cars, mostly white cars, through the D'Agostini D, and then up round the main straight. And now coming round into the EFRA hairpin again, up to the HP carousel. There's 2 white cars in tandem as they're going on. So he's also up there, is Pico. Pico coming through now the EFRA hairpin again, the slowest part of the track, and he'll be up to the HP carousel, the second of the 2 white cars there, coming through his shot now. He's the second of those 2 cars. Coming around onto the pit straight, remember that's not the start-finish straight, the control line is just before that. So let's follow Pico around for the final seconds of this top heat qualifying in round 4. There's the control line there. There's the pit straight. So technically this is turn 2, but we call it turn 1, then 2. The EFRA hairpin, slowest part, double apex left, up to 60 miles an hour down the main straight into the HP carousel. You see them try and slide it through there a little bit, through the D'Agostini D and across the control line. There is a lap of this great facility here in Ettlingen in Germany. It's a perfect day for it. There is not a cloud in the sky. So maximum heat on the track, maximum grip in that rubbered in line. You can see there that dark line, which is mostly rubber, as he goes for the pass on the number 10 car of Andrea Pirani, who he's also fighting with. So these guys are very level on pace. So I don't know if Pirani moved aside there slightly. It didn't look it to me. But if that was a pass by Pico, that was a power move. And he really made a good job of it as the clock ticks down to 0. And I don't think anyone's going to get a 24 lapper out of this one. Not for lack of trying, but it was a very good run. A very good set of results. So, that's the final round down. Let's have a look at your final scores here from this first of the top heats in qualifying round 4. And it's another win in this heat for Alberto Pico. Another strong run, tantalizing it outside of the 24-lap bracket. He finishes with 23 laps on a 5:05.017. That's just ahead of Coelho on a 5:06.563. Both of those guys almost trading lap times right now, trading fastest laps. So that's 2 heat wins apiece. But of course, they'll also be looking at the overall picture and the overall pace. And they'll be doing their best to kind of break out there. Coelho and Pico, I think, are firmly established themselves in the top 10 in terms of pace. Andrea Pirani, I think, is also there. That was incredibly close for second in the heat. You see there, only 0.02 of a second between them. Andrea Piertin, the multi-world champion as well as European champion in 2004. He's also up there as well. He's slowly coming towards his best, but I think he's going to have to fight his way through some of the mid-card to get his way up there, which is not ideal at all. Francesco Tironi 5th then, Dominic Reiner 6th, Merlin Depter 7th then, Nicola Morone 8th, Patrick Schaefer 9th, and Mirko Salimi round out the 10 in that heat. Let's have a look at our second top heat for qualifying round 4. This is where the sharp end is. This is where the very elite running out here this weekend will be. And that is where our current TQ, top qualifier, is stationed. Jilles Groskamp from the Netherlands will be rolling off second. He's been very confident this weekend. He loves the weather. He loves the track. He has a lot of mileage here. It's hard to look past him as a favourite for this event. But there is anything that can still happen, and there's 9 other guys in this heat alone, let alone across the rest of the qualifiers, who will be aiming to stop him, including Oliver Mack, who rolls off first as the 10th seed, Silvio Hackler 3rd, then John Ehrman 4th. He actually was very strong in the last heat. Timu Lainu 5th, Lino, the Finnish driver, he's very strong as well. Maximilian Vogel, Simon Kjørsbuk, Lars Hoppe, who won the last heat, and then Robert Peach and Dario Balestri. Balestri, whose list of achievements is longer than my arm, ladies and gentlemen. There is nothing, if he hasn't won it, it's probably not worth talking about. He is the reigning European champ. Between him and Piche, there is barely anything those guys have not won. So the top 2 seeds out here, Balestri and Piche, are the ones really to watch. And Balestri on his Capricorn car is the reigning champion. So he'll be the one that everyone will be gunning for this year. And he'll be coming in to look to sweep, to go 2 in a row, back to back, across 2 years. As they go through their warm-up routine, a few cars nipping in and out of the lane. I think that might be Piche's car. No, that's the number 9 car. That's Groskamp's car. Just being taken to one side to have some tinkering done to it. As I say, the main thing that the mechanics down there will be working on the car, 1 mechanic per team for now. As Groskamp returns to the track. The one thing they'll be working on is fuel burn, fuel mix. Whether to run it too lean or too rich. And as Groskamp's car comes around, I'm having a look to see if it's putting out much, if any, smoke at all. As I say, plumes of smoke generally means it's running too rich. No smoke at all, too lean. That's the kind of simplest way I can put it. But normally you just want a little puff of smoke coming out of every corner. As I think Groskamp's car has returned again to the lane. Yes, I think it has. This is an interesting storyline to follow here as we get into qualifying round 4. Remember, Groskamp is the current top qualifier, but you receive points in each heat for how well you do. But you want the least amount of points possible. So if you win your heat, you get 0 points. So ideally, you want the least possible points. So any dropped scores, remember they can drop 2 scores. So Groskamp has had 3 very strong performances, but ideally you don't want to then have 2 duds. So you have to drop those 2 and rely on the top 3, because there could be someone else who finished just as strongly in those 3 heats who did better in the other 2. So ideally you want 5 very strong qualifying heats. So that's in an ideal world, ladies and gentlemen. And we're seeing everyone come through the D'Agostini D. You can see the control line there. So there's about 30 seconds or so of this warm-up, and it looks like most of the competitors are at least fairly happy with their car. Everyone now returning to the pit lane, and we'll be gearing up for some last tinkering. I just keep seeing Groskamp's car and his mechanic. Still a lot of fettling going on that car, you know. I mean, there's fettling going on up and down the lane. You can see it there on our camera. But there's still I don't know. Something about the Groschkamp car, he was in and out quite a lot there, and there was a lot of fiddling going on there. It wasn't conversely to in the last round where we saw several of the guys just come down the lane once. Do you want to change anything on it? Nope, I'm happy with it. So let's watch Groschkamp's car. Let's see how well he can do here. Countdown is on. And we're cutting them loose for 5 minutes of qualifying here in the very top heat of qualifying round 4 in the EFRA 1/8 scale IC Euros, presented on RC Racing TV by HB Europe, D'Agostini Model Space, and EFRA. So we're underway, and we're following Groschkamp early doors to see how his car's going. Remember, it takes a few laps to shake down and get some lap times on the board to have a true illustration of where we're at. But Groschkamp's car, well, through the early laps, it doesn't look, hardly looks off the pace to me. It looks fairly stable. It looks fairly smooth. Those are the crucial things out there. You just want to keep nailing the laps. And he's straight away right on top of the timesheets in terms of times. He's right up there with the fastest of the session so far, which is a 13.015 by Simon Kurzbuch, of course. Very early in the session, that can change. We are expecting to see a lot of these guys go sub 13 seconds. Just as I say that, Silvio Hackler does exactly that. But Groschkamp's right there in terms of pace, so we'll see. I think probably maybe there was a lot of worrying over nothing in the pits, because he's certainly still on the pace. But let's have a look and see if we can find Silvio Hackler. He'll be coming up to the HP carousel now, the yellow car. In fact, he's just behind Groschkamp. There he is. So he's quite near Groschkamp, but you can see there's enough of a gap between the two so that he's not being delayed at all. Hackler is not being slowed down. You know, the EFRA hairpin, through the double apex left, hitting up 60 miles an hour down that main straight, sometimes over 60 miles an hour. Through down the pit straight again. His car's, as I say, averaging 12 and 13 second lap times. Hackler has just improved on his personal best, and at the moment is the one guy, along with Oliver Mack, who is predicted a 24 lap run. As I say, that Groschkamp is up there as well. The timing screen keeps changing so quickly that it's hard to keep track of, but you sort of get a sense of who's up there and who's hot and who's not. Hackler certainly is red hot right now in that bright yellow car. He's doing strongly. Simon Kurzbuch's also been on the pace. I think he's a couple of cars back from Hackler. So Kurzbuch will be coming up through to the EFRA hairpin about now in the yellow and orange car. And he'll be up along through the HP carousel right about now. There he is, coming through. Frank, our cameraman, doing an excellent job as always. Coming through. Down into the EFRA hairpin again. Slowest part, you get maximum traction out here. And he's been logging some very solid laps, some very strong laps. And really, I think a lot of these guys are stepping up their game as they're getting towards the end of qualifying. Someone is going to be able to stop Groschkamp. Not many people have been able to. He is a previous European champion as well. He won the 2013 running of this event. But we'll be keen to regain his title from Dario Balestri. Balestri's also up there as well, the Italian. It's largely between a sort of rolling circus of Kurzbuch, Hackler, Groschkamp and Balestri. But as I say, it's changing lap by lap. So if we can, see if we can have a look out for Timu Lainu in the number 6 car. Where's Lainu's car? He's definitely been one to watch, but hasn't been quite getting the results so far in the qualifying that he'd want. He's the bright orange car coming up to the HP hairpin now. He'll be third in that little queue there, and there he is. There's Timu Lainu, one of the very strongest out there. And we've had a car actually flip down at the EFRA hairpin. There it is, right there. You just saw it. That was the number 2. That was Robert Peach. Robert Peach just had a flip there, and Balestri's also had an instant just before the EFRA hairpin as well. Balestri's heat is over. There he is, you can see the marshals retrieving it. It's all happening down there. And we've had another flip. It is Flip City down at the EFRA hairpin, and they're claiming the top seeds. They're going down like flies down there. Balestri has DNF'd. Peach had flipped there. And then Lars Hoppe had just flipped down there as well. And I think they were just getting too aggressive on the rumble strips. As we track back in with Timu Lainu, I think they were just getting a bit too aggressive with those rumble strips on the inside. There's the rumble strip there. And then on the inside of the EFRA hairpin there, they can easily flip the cars if you catch them just the wrong way. You've got to sort of catch them at just the right angle. As another car just catches it, that's Silvio Hackler who's hit it. So who wants to win this heat, guys? Does anyone want to? That's Simon Kurzbuch in the yellow and orange car coming through. There's the number 7 of John Ehrman, who's running a very similar livery. Ehrman's just coming through the D'Agostini D now. There he is. Just ahead, I believe, of Lino. Those two have been racing each other the whole heat. As we're counting down into the final 30 seconds, this still really is anyone's. And with all those mistakes, I don't think we're going to be getting a 24-lap run. We've got a car off at the far end at the HP Carousel. That, I think, is Lino. I think it's hard to tell from here, but whoever it is, not going any further. And the number 7 also slowing. The number 7 of John Ehrman also slowing. Are we having some guys run out of fuel in the closing stages here? The heat is over. The heat is over then. And mistakes are galore at the end of that heat. That was fascinating stuff there. That was not a clean heat from anyone by any stretch of the imagination. So let's have a look how that has all shaken out. And I have a feeling you're going to see a little bit of a surprise here in terms of the results lineup. And there you have it. Simon Kurzbuch will take out the session. He was the closest to getting a 24-lap run, but he didn't. He was 9/10 off. In the end, he completed 23 laps. Julius Kroschkamp, second overall, the number 9 seed. Also the top qualifier coming into this round. That should be good enough for him to retain his TQ standing going into the final round of qualifying. Oliver Mack third then in the number 10 seeded car. Maximilian Vogel sneaks up to 4th. 5th then for Silvio Hackler, who was doing very strongly for a lot of that heat. John Ehrman 6th. 7th for Robert Peach in the end. That'll be disappointing. That'll drop him down the rankings, something he cannot afford. Lars Hoppe 8th, Teemu Lainu 9th, and Dario Balestri, the reigning champion, 10th, completing only 15 laps. That'll be a big blow to his qualifying chances, advancing out of this heat and making it into the final. Remember, the guys, the top qualifier is automatically into the final, and then 4 or 5 guys behind them will go into this new, for 2015, Super Pole format, which we'll have after qualifying round 5, where guys will go out there to set one quick hot lap as fast as they can, the fastest single hot lap they can, and the top one of those guys will also lock themselves into the final, and the rest, it'll be down into the semis, quarterfinals, and beyond into the lower finals to try and scrap their way through the hard way to make it to the very final. So, we'll have all that coming up. We'll have qualifying round 5 in the top heats as qualifying concludes here in Ettlingen in Germany. There is still not a cloud to be seen in the sky. It's beautiful conditions. It's a beautiful day for racing. I'm Adam Johnson along with Frank McKinney and Paul Bateman and the RC Racing TV here. Our coverage presented by HB Europe, D'Agostini Model Space and EFRA, who put on another great event today. We'll see you in round 5. It's all getting a bit intense out here in Ettlingen.